Hello and welcome to Gen X Quench today. As you can see, we have a special guest, but I'm Jace.
And I'm Lynn.
And here on Gen X Quench, we talk about things that relate to the folks who are in the Gen X generation. So those are like mid 40s, 50s, early 60s.
And beyond.
And beyond. And some of the topics we talk about could be personal finance, retirement, potentially living and traveling in another country. And that segues nicely into our guest today. And I'm going to let her introduce herself all the way from Panama City, Panama. Special guest, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. Congratulations on your YouTube channel. You're doing an amazing job. You have such great information and content, and you two work so well together. See, me and Al, we couldn't be in the same. We can't.
Y'all, you're jumping in already.
All right. Here we go. My name is Charlotte Van Horn. I am CEO and founder of Black Expats in Panama. We are a licensed tour operator in Panama. We conduct cultural relocation tours. Matter of fact, we are the creator of the Cultural Relocation Tour. Now, the research showed there was cultural tours and there were relocation tours. But baby, Black Expats in Panama did the Cultural Relocation Tour. And so we bring people to Panama, primarily Black Americans, to show them an alternative to living in the United States. We should all have options, and that's just kind of what I do. Other than that, I'm a Jersey girl. So don't trip. I keep my mace with the Kung Fu grip, baby. I'm a Jersey girl, and always be a Jersey girl.
So you can take the girl out of Jersey, but you can't take the Jersey out of the girl.
That's it. And it's so funny because I would never ever live there again. Well, I'm kind of old to say never ever, but I would never want to live there again. But growing up there is just something that I just take a lot of pride in. I do. I'm a Jersey girl, and I love to meet other people from Jersey. So that's just a little bit about me as far as like the travel and the Black expats part of my life.
Yeah, well, we're going to dig in a whole lot deeper. So, yeah.
Very good. And I'll give the audience a little backstory. Last February, I actually went on the Black Expats in Panama tour, and that was my first time meeting Charlotte in person. We had a few Zoom calls ahead of time, so I kind of got to know her personality. But on the actual trip, oh my goodness, I was like, shit, this person's so full of life and spunk and zest. I said, I got to have more of her. And I said, when we get this YouTube channel, you're gonna be one of our first guests on. So we're so blessed to have you on here.
Yeah, and rep your group. What's your
Black Expats cohort number 26. So 26 in Spanish. 26. And we have our brand on brand. So we're representing Charlotte's brand today.
That's right. We got our shirts on.
Thanks for repping, guys.
Oh, you're welcome. We want to be brand ambassadors for you. And with that we'll lead right into our first question. So the first question is, when and how did you leave the USA to get to Panama? Like, what exposed you to Panama, made you want to live there, etc.?
It was love, baby. It was love.
Love.
That's it.
Right.
Love brought me to Panama.
Okay.
I happened to meet a Panamanian man back in 1993 out in them streets in Biloxi, Mississippi, believe it or not. Yes.
I know you all met in Mississippi.
Yes. Oh, I was running away from my life in New Jersey. Okay. And but I really was. I had my mother had passed, and I had just spent like a few years just really unstable, just kind of sad. And I think that, looking back on it, we just never really talked back in 1987 and, up to 93 about the grieving process. It's like Chris Rock say, put some tussin on it, and keep moving. But really, in hindsight, I had struggled with that for a long time. And I had a girlfriend, my bestie, still today. We've been best friends, talk every day for 45 years.
Wow.
45 years. She was in the service and stationed at Keesler, and there's a kid, Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi. And I don't even know that she really knew what I was going through, but I guess instinctively she just kept saying, "Why don't you move out here?" And I'm like, "Girl, I ain't moving down south." I said, "I'd be some strange fruit with my mouth." And I just never desired to go, down south. And then one day I just woke up and I said, "You have nothing to lose. And
Right.
at
Right.
this point, your life is about to go nowhere." And
Mm-hmm.
I got on a train, and me and my 7-year-old moved to Biloxi, Mississippi. And I moved there in September of 1993, and I met my husband on November 7th. So that was just that was my purpose, and so that's how I ended up with the Panama connection. And I always say that when we met, well, he came into the drugstore. I was trying to return some sunglasses real quick, right? Them sunglasses was like $5 and 90 something cent. And back then stuff was tight, you understand? And so I
Right.
need to get my money back because I never wore sunglasses until I moved down south. My eyes, the sun was like, I was like, what kind of sun is this? And you know how the glasses used to have a little tag in the middle?
Mm-hmm.
If
Yes.
you who was gonna wear the glasses like that? So I just figured I'd go to the drugstore every day. I just run in there real quick, get my little $6 and be out. And that girl told me I couldn't return my glasses. I turned that drugstore out. You hear me? Listen, backed up the line, told her go get a manager. I was double parked on the fire lane. My daughter was in the back seat, and I'm up here arguing with these people about some $6. And my husband to be was in the back of the line. And that's how we end up meeting. So when he left to walk home, because we both lived right across from the store. He left to walk home, and something which we know today was the Holy Spirit said, "You got to go back and meet that woman." And he came back to meet me. And so when I act up and act a fool and cut up, I say, "Listen, bro, you had your chance to keep walking. Now
He saw. He saw
everybody
firsthand.
else is an interview. You know what I
Right.
mean? You got to go through that whole process before you see somebody really cut up, act a fool, and be ugly. But he saw me that day, and he decided to come back for me, and the rest is history.
Oh,
So that's how I
outstanding.
ended up here. He's Panamanian. And I didn't
Okay.
know what Panama was, y'all. I'm talking about, I was just one of these chicks. I still am a little ghetto around the edges. Just a little more, just a little bit more money now. But I just really wasn't traveled. I didn't have a passport. I
Mm-hmm.
guess I didn't pay a lot of attention in geography in school because I really didn't know what Panama was. And when he told me he was from Panama, I was just like, "Oh, that's nice." I thought to myself, he speaks really funny. I thought he was a Jamaican.
Okay.
And then when I heard him speak in Spanish one day, I was like, "Oh my God, like you totally speak Spanish?" Kind of thing. And he looked at me. I don't know why my husband stayed with me, y'all. He looked at me, he was like, "I'm Panamanian." I'm like, "Oh, that's right." And I say, before y'all start judging me, we didn't have Google back then.
No, no. You had World Book Encyclopedia or the
That
Exactly.
was
library
it.
Yeah.
or something, but you did not
That was
have
it.
information at your fingertips. So, was he living in Mississippi as well? Did you all date and go back and forth or visit with him? How did that, like, the first trip to Panama? I mean, was it moving the first time you went, or did you all kind of visit and that type of thing?
Well, he actually was in the Air Force. So that's
Okay.
why he was there. He was living in Biloxi because he was in the Air Force. And we started dating and we moved in together. And I want to say it was probably like a year or a year and a half later, he got promoted and he had to leave. So we ended up leaving. I left with him and just started traveling with him. The first time that I went to Panama was the first time I got my passport. Excuse me, my first passport trip was Panama.
Mhm.
And that was in 2000, I think.
Okay.
2000. Yep.
Mhm.
And that was me and my daughter's first trip. So we came, that was my first time being exposed to Panama. He had told me all kind of stories. But then when I got here, I just couldn't see none of it. It was just like, I swear he used to tell like Bill Cosby stories, like stories equivalent to Bill Cosby talking about them walking to school with 3 feet of snow and all that kind of stuff. So he always talked about being in the jungle and camping with his friends and stuff. So I totally expected to come and find like, something very rural or country or jungle-ish.
Mhm.
Um, and it wasn't that at all. So the first time I came, it wasn't what it is now, guys. Not at all. If you could
Okay.
have seen the airport, you wouldn't believe it. The airport, the road that you leave, the airport was just like, I felt embarrassed for him. I did. I felt like, wow, it was because I hadn't traveled, remember? I mean, I really
Right.
had never traveled anywhere, never seen anything other than a US airport. And the airport was just so small and dinky. And, there was a lot of trash on the side of the road. The road was bumpy, lots of holes. Now it's just like 3 or 4 lanes and, the train is here and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, however, even with that said, it immediately appealed to me. Panama
Mhm.
Okay.
did. Immediately
Mhm.
appealed to me.
Mhm.
What was the appeal? If it
Well,
wasn't the external thing, what was it? Well, I'm
that's
gonna
a
let you
good question, Jace.
say.
That's a good question because I actually think of it often. And I
Okay.
think one of the things that appealed to me was the warmth. I like the weather. Even though it's hot, I love it. I love the weather. But the other thing that appealed to me was the music. The
Oh, okay.
music. And now when you come to Panama, everything is so, North Americanized that,
Mhm.
I mean, it
Mhm.
used to be every radio station was playing salsa or that other kind of music. It's like the folklore music that they play here. I can't think of the name, but I know y'all can think of it.
Mhm.
I enjoyed hearing that. It reminded me that I was in some place, I was in an exotic place.
Mhm.
And that appealed to me, but they don't have that anymore. That appealed to me. And I don't know, you know how sometimes, and I always say to people, it's like you think you want to be in a place until you get there, and then you
Mhm.
find out this doesn't feel good to me. Well, it was
Mhm.
like the opposite with Panama. It felt good. It just
Yep.
it,
Okay.
it had the vibe, it had the energy.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very good.
So you got the passport in 2000 and that was a visit. When did you all move? Or was that the time that you kind of, when did Panama become permanent for you?
Well,
Or I
we
guess I don't know if that's a fair question. Based on, your journey.
well, like you said, that Lynn, very good point. Nothing is permanent.
Mhm. Right.
But we bought a house here in 2012, so I think that was pretty solid.
Okay,
Okay.
that's what I mean.
Right,
That's
right,
that's
right,
what I
right.
mean
That
from the
was a pretty
standpoint of
solid move.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
we came back and forth, and it was so different then. My husband's family, very close-knit family. Um, they're, they enjoy spending time together, and a great event for them is South, arroz con pollo, Panama beer, música, and familia, right?
Yeah,
On
yeah.
Mhm.
the patio. And so we started coming on a regular basis, but then it was just like, okay, what now?
Right.
This is
No.
before YouTube, before Black Expat anything. It was just me in a country that spoke another language because there wasn't as many people trying to speak English during
Right.
that time either.
Hmm.
But then after we started coming back, I just started getting a little bit bored with it because it was no longer a vacation.
Right.
Um,
It's like a
and it was
family
like,
trip, like just like if you went across town to go, or 2 states over to see Uncle Joe or whatever.
exactly.
Hmm.
And I didn't know how to discover other things. I didn't know how, and I probably would not have had the confidence to do like what some of these people do coming into Panama, not able to speak no Spanish. I wasn't that girl. I wasn't gonna
Right.
do that. I wasn't gonna do that. I'm just gonna tell you the truth. If my husband wasn't coming with me and he wasn't, and I knew I could just look to him for everything, I would not have been brave enough to do
Mm,
it. So I was just kind of like in the family mood, in the family cycle. What happened was we were literally coming for, I mean, at least 8 years before I made a friend.
wow.
Wow.
Yes, yes. And if you think about that in contrast to where you can get off the plane and say, what is the Black expats doing? And
Right.
just hop down, meet people, learn experiences, make connections. It was very different then. And the first friend that I made, her name was Gigi. You know what? I made a mistake. I came in 2004, guys. It was
Mm,
Okay.
2004 was my first time because I was thinking I met Gigi in 2012 and she was my first friend.
okay.
And we built a house and we were one of the first people to build here. And Gigi was the neighbor down the street. She's still my bestie here.
Okay.
Yeah, and she spoke English and Spanish, of course. She had like one little kid, and we just connected, and I felt so much better
Right.
because having Gigi made all the difference for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds
Having
like
Gigi.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. I was gonna ask a question. What was your biggest adjustment moving from the US and living in Panama? Or your biggest, ooh, this is different. And it sounds like trying to make the friends might be the answer, but what was your biggest adjustment?
Just
That goes back
Or
to the
surprise?
language.
Yeah.
That goes back to the language, Jace, really.
Okay.
And it's like that's why we have cafe and conversation. I really want to encourage people to try. I know at this age, trying to learn, Spanish or any other language can be challenging, but we're not going to we're not going to have the best experience here and
Yep.
not know any Spanish. You're
Mm,
going to miss out on friendships. You're going to miss out on opportunities. There are so many things, even right now, today, especially things happening in the Afro Panamanian community, that I would like to be more involved in.
mhm.
But my Spanish is still so elementary that
Right.
I miss so much and I'm just not effective in those spaces yet.
Mm,
So yeah, the Spanish was the hardest part.
mhm,
Okay.
mhm.
Yeah, now these days, like tech helps. Like we didn't have that.
Google
Google
Translate.
Translate, or now you can put the buds in and it'll translate for you. They've got a lot of
I'm gonna
tools
try
available
one
now.
of those.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, nowadays it's a lot easier because we also have WhatsApp.
Right.
That was the other thing. You would come out here and go home to a $700 phone bill. But now you
Yeah.
have WhatsApp, and it's easier to communicate because you can just copy and throw it in Google Translate and then come back, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And it's easier to communicate with people in writing than it is when they get carried away, honey, and send me a voice. Lord, I say, Alfredo, what she say? You know what I mean? But it's a big thing. That I think trying to learn the language is a big thing.
Mhm.
People that tend to go into communities like Coronado, Boquete, they're not as more of them don't know Spanish
Right.
and they
Mhm.
don't try to learn Spanish because the people there cater to the English. They
Mm.
cater
So
to the
that,
English speaking expats,
that's the expat
and there's
bubble.
so many expats there that you can get by.
Yeah, you
Yep.
can maneuver without having to
Know the language.
on a daily basis for
Right.
most transactions and that type of thing. So let's shift gears. And when did you start your business in Panama? And I'm assuming maybe Black Expats in Panama was the first business, but what's been your entrepreneurial journey in Panama, and how did kind of get to the place of Black Expats in Panama come to be?
Well, um, initially, my business was going to be, so my husband and I, we closed on our home in 2012. And then we were going to retire, like he's older than I am. So he was going to retire somewhere between 2018 and 2020, I guess. And I was thinking to myself, what can I do? Because I, not even understanding then, like I know now, that because I'm not a citizen, I couldn't have done a lot of things anyway, right? But
Right.
just thinking, I can't be, I used to be a secretary or a paralegal or a legal assistant. And I knew I didn't speak Spanish. And I knew that even when I got to speak Spanish, that I was not interested in learning grammar and all of that. I'm just more interested in conversational. If I can get by with that, that'll be good. But I decided to do sister locks. I decided to learn how to do sister locks because I saw the future, and I saw that maybe at that time, now back in 2012, Panama, whatever the cultural or Afro stuff you see now, baby, you ain't see it then. You did
Right.
not see it then. I'm
Mhm.
telling you, you didn't see it then. But I had a feeling that you would see it eventually.
Mhm.
And I just can remember looking at Black women here and thinking, she looks amazing from here down. But that hair is struggling. The hair is struggling. They did not have good perms. It was even at that time hard to find extension hair here,
Mhm.
like for
Mhm.
braids.
Mhm.
And the perms that they had were not good. They had that little puff puff straight thing going on. And I said, and with the rain and the humidity, I
Yeah.
said, you know what? They can use these sister locks. One of
Mhm.
these days, they're going to be able to use sister locks. And I had sister locks at that time. So I planned ahead, took the class, and said that by the time we got ready to move, I'd know how to do them and I could just transfer and do a business, in Panama. And that was my plan. That was my
Mhm.
plan. Sister Locks retired me though. Surprisingly, I started Sister Locks in 2012, and in 2017, Sister Locks had totally retired me. So I've
Wow.
been retired from corporate since January 5th. It was a January 5th at 4 p.m. in 2017. That was it.
Right.
That
My
was it. I'm
birthday.
like, I was like Obama, we out. That
Mhm.
was it, and never looked back. So decided I was going to do that when I came here, and I started building the business little by little. Coming here, introducing, I found SMAP, the West Indian Museum. They were instrumental in me learning about Afro culture here. Somebody told
Mhm.
me about Carmela Goburn, and I give her a lot of credit for me taking an interest in the Afro Panamanian culture and history because I didn't know any of it. And then some people, when you just live here, you just assume, and like we do, we take stuff for granted. But
Right.
anyway, she let me come and introduce myself at her meetings and try to tell the people about Sister Locks, and they was like glazed over, completely. But I still, but she persisted
Mhm.
and started to kind of doing it in both places. As Alfredo retired in 2018, and he came ahead of me, and I just came back and forth like twice, once a month. I would come to Panama. It was super cool. Um, then George Floyd is what, oh, I'm sorry, y'all. I created the Facebook group so that I could attract expats
Mhm.
because I knew that this wouldn't be, even with my reduce prices for Panama, I knew that this wouldn't be something that the average Panamanian woman was going to be able to, or want to do,
Mhm.
because of the financial part of it, and the maintenance of sister locks and stuff. And so when what was I saying, y'all? Shoot, I forgot something. But
The owl came out before you did.
okay,
And
so
yeah.
thank you, Mama.
Mhm.
So he came out before I did, and we were going back and forth.
Mhm.
And I created that page so I could attract expats. I looked everywhere because I don't know why it came to me, Black expats. I don't even know why, because I didn't come to Panama on an expat basis. I came under my husband, and that was a totally different experience. And I kept looking on Facebook because that was my main social media at that time. Kept looking for Black expats in Panama. I was looking for it, and it wasn't there. So I would
Right.
get busy doing something else. And another 2 weeks, I'd go by and I'd say, Black expats in Panama. Tell you the truth, y'all, wasn't nothing coming up, Black expats.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Just
And
searching that as a
finally,
search
the Holy
term.
Spirit said,
Created.
will you please start it?
Right.
Like, my goodness, build it and they will come.
Right. Right.
So not only was I led to create Black Expats in Panama Facebook group, which is the private, right? I also have a matching page, Black Expats in Panama. And again, I could say for whatever reason, but I know I put a trademark on it immediately.
Okay. Very good.
Before it had a member. I was thinking trademarks, right? So started building the page, and the page grew about 200. I would just come into Panama. Al and I used to come to Panama every 2 weeks out of every year, like maybe twice a year, 2 weeks at a time. We were building on the house and fixing up the house and stuff, because I never moved anybody in my house. So even though we bought the house, I never rented it. And when George Floyd died, was murdered in front of us, that is when Black Expats in Panama, as we know it, was born. So it took 2 years for me coming back and forth, making little videos, for me to build the group to 200 people. I swear to you, when we watched that George Floyd thing, I probably got my next 200 members in 2 weeks.
Wow. Yep.
Right? We now have 11,000 members. And if you would know how many members we automatically and manually decline, it's so many, because it's not about numbers for us. It's about a quality platform. And that is when Black Expat in Panama, as we know it, began. People started asking me, they said, what is it like out there? Is it Black people out there? Is it police brutality out there? Is it healthcare out there? Is it, what is it like to live? Because what does it cost? I
So the
don't
community
know.
that you were building at that point was not of Black expats in Panama. It was Black Americans curious about being an expat in Panama. But you were
Totally.
searching for people that were already in
There.
Panama that were the expats. But you
Yes.
found that a lot of people were coming like,
Yes.
I want, what would life be like there? That kind of is a surprise. Was that a surprise to you?
I think that it was a surprise to me when the interest just got big. I knew that there were Black people here, and over the time, I started, meeting, a few people here and there, but not a lot. I knew that in order for me to build a business here, it wasn't going to be word of mouth. Not at all. Not at all. It would have to be on there. So that was all my thinking was. And so when I was looking for people, you're right, that was here. But people that were interested in coming were also looking at the page. And then after George Floyd, it was just like, we out. And this business was built in the height of COVID. So you figure COVID was announced in March of 2020, and George Floyd was murdered in May of 2020.
Right.
So that's when it happened.
That's what I was gonna say. How did it grow from your first tour group to what's happening now?
More from that point, from the
Yeah.
Facebook page
To
and the
actually
interest
making it
to
happen.
a tour group, to how has that grown over the last 5 years?
Tremendously. We conducted our first tour, sold during COVID for $1,200. And it was like, you can cancel for any reason, $50 fee. It's just like trying to get people to imagine leaving the country or the house again for that.
Right.
was like you had to make it a really sweet deal.
Mm.
And so I sold tours during COVID, and May 2021, we did our first one. We did our
Okay.
first tour in COVID. We're about to start our 40th tour right now.
Very good.
Um, I started out with one link that said, "This is the tour." And then people was like, "When you gonna do it again?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, maybe I need another link." And then finally I said, "I just need one link with some drop downs, you know, and
Right.
once you commit to something and you sell it, you gotta do it." And
Right.
that's kind of how it started. But it has changed so much. It was great, I feel like, when it started. And now I think that I have an entire team that makes it just that much better. And every
Mhm.
time, like when people come back, they're like, "Oh wow, y'all wasn't doing this last time," or when we were here or whatever. So we have upgraded a lot, and just kind of grown into an amazing business. And to put that in perspective, we did our first tour in May of 2021,
Mhm.
and I really didn't make any money, like probably for those first couple of years at all.
Right.
Okay.
But I was still doing sister locks for a minute.
Okay.
Hmm.
So that was kind of offsetting while I was still setting it up and stuff like that.
Right.
But then, um, 2024, I looked up and we had sold almost $1 million in tours.
Wow. Wow. That's
We
that's
came this close. We've sold millions, but we
Hmm.
claimed for that one year, literally in that calendar year, we were at about $900,000.
that is
Wow.
awesome. Look at
Wow.
Yes,
God.
from 21 to 24. That ain't nothing but the Lord that was on my side, baby.
Right.
Well,
And how often were you doing the tours? I mean, obviously you've gotten 40, but when you started and you did the first one, that was what, May 2021?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, how many did you, and then people started saying, when are you doing another one? How many a year were you doing at that point to how many you do now?
Automatically set it up for 9. I set it
Okay.
up
okay.
for 9 because January I do a sisters retreat.
Hmm.
And so I set it up from February to September, and then I skip October and November because it rains a lot, and
Yeah.
it's too stressful for me not being able to conduct the tours and stuff. So I go to other countries during that
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And we just take a break from the tours and then we resume in December. So it was 9 a year. And the thing is that I made when COVID, like during the height of COVID, I had reduced the maximum to like 10, maximum 10,
Mm-hmm.
because it was so hard. Like the first we had so much demand over the first tour that we actually did 2 tours that first month. We did two
Right.
tours in May of 2021. And but moving people around when you could only have 4 people on an elevator, or you could only have 4 people in an apartment, like showing spaces. Oh
Right.
boy, it was something.
Yeah. Yeah.
It
Because
was
everybody
something.
went, we couldn't breathe on each other back then,
Nope.
standing 6 feet
Nope.
apart in public
Yep.
places and all of those kind of things. Yep.
Having the I think back then, I don't know if I had the big bus that often, having it so where people weren't on top of each other in like a coaster, trying to
Mhm.
fit people in a coaster. Yeah. So after a while I was able to increase it. And with the first, things really spiked um with this last election. The last
Mhm.
election,
Mhm.
it went through the roof.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it went through the roof. And you could see that with you could see the changes. You could see the
Mhm.
changes, you could see the trends. Now people learn a lot more about, other places to live. YouTube has played a big part of that.
Yep.
Um, and so it's very busy. So I cut it off now because now our tours are like 20, 25, and 20 to 25 people. And I try to keep it no more than 20.
Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
very good.
Mhm.
Well, I'm a believer in the tour, so I've actually experienced it, gone through it. But for those,
Raved about
yes,
it.
yeah,
For those
raved
left
about it.
at
Yes,
home,
yes,
called me from Panama.
yeah,
Getting the
right.
daily now.
You.
Yeah.
But try to describe it like what the week looks like structurally for those who haven't been. And I'm gonna still tell them you need to go, but
Just what to
Charlotte, do it
expect.
justice. What? Yeah.
Okay, well, I do this. I'm with the tour every single time. I've never not been with one of my tours. I did train someone to fill in for me if I'm not there, but I have never not been there for a tour. So the tour, you book the tour. Like I think the good thing about the tour is that it starts before it starts.
Mhm.
Right? So you
Yep.
book the tour, and we let you know when you book the tour, you're going to hear from us about 60 days out because the tours are booked so far out. I don't, people, you're not going to start communicating and your tour is not 9 months. So you let them know, we know you're there, but you're going to start hearing from us about 60 days out. 60 days out, we put some little bit of helpful information on like a message when you book. But then on 60 days out, we send an email that just has a ton of information about what you can expect on the tour, different tips about, the airport, we're going to create a WhatsApp, all kind of stuff. And it also, most importantly, it includes a pre-trip survey that we require everybody complete so that we know your dietary restrictions, physical limitations, what your interests are, to kind of make sure that we're fitting we're serving you as best we can. So that's there. And the other thing is you get the 2 Zoom dates. So every tour has 2 Zoom dates. One is about 30 days before, and one is about 7 days before. And the one that's 30 days before is super cool because it's just us. It's mainly introductions. So you have an opportunity to see who's going to be on the tour with you. You introduce yourself. Have you been here before? And we usually start talking about our experiences at that point and start connecting. You start connecting at that point, right? And people
Yep.
that miss that, we send them we send them the recorded video, right? And then about 7 days before is more logistics. So it's logistics. Is there anything happening in Panama that we need to let y'all know about? Like, for example, the protest. Is there anything new going on at the airport? Just details, making sure that your roommate and your room assignments are correct. Making sure that we have all your transportation details correct. This is all the 7 days out. Letting you know that about 2 days before people start traveling, you're going to get included in a WhatsApp chat. And then once you're in that WhatsApp chat, stop sending me emails. Everything we doing is in that WhatsApp chat. We're a group. Any changes to your itinerary, if anything like that, you want to put it in that WhatsApp chat. That WhatsApp chat includes our logistics team, the transportation, the tour guides, my assistants, and also our realtor is in there in that chat as well. So we start to use the chat. And the chat is awesome because we have a lot of single females with us, and it's a safety feature, I feel, for the tour. When you're in that chat, somebody has to be in that chat. It's required. It's required. So don't neither one of y'all have, if you traveling, you and your spouse, and neither one of y'all don't have WhatsApp, at least one person gotta get it. Okay, because you gotta be connected in this chat. We're gonna give you all the information during the tour about, the night before. We're telling you what's happening the next day. We're telling you if things have changed. We're sharing photos, and we use this chat for everything. once they once they take their plane and get into Panama, they let us know right away in the chat. We here. My logistics team is there. Somebody with a Black Expats in Panama sign is waiting for you to get you in the vehicle and take you to the hotel. The hotel, the Tourist Stay Alba, they let you check in early if they can, if it's available and it's not like too early, or you can leave your luggage if you're early or whatever. But your tour has started. The first event that night is the welcome dinner. The welcome dinner is one of the things that I think people see so much value in, because you get to meet the lawyer, the doctor, the realtor, the insurance broker, and the moving company. So they introduce themselves, very informal. They introduce themselves, tell you some things that are important for you to know as a possible expat coming here about their industry. You get to ask them questions. Of course, we have a dinner. We try to have Panama themed food. And we take our group photo and then we go on to our next day. You get your amazing swag bags. And then the next day, day two is city suburbs. So every day we leave at 8. And I tell people this is not a vacation.
Right.
When people say, I want a vacation in Panama, don't come on
This
this
ain't
tour.
it.
This ain't it.
This ain't it.
This not that. Okay, this not that. And people coming here they want relocation information, and that's business, right?
Mhm.
So, but every day we infuse each day with Afro-Panamanian culture and Panama history. All throughout the trip, you're getting that. So, day two is our city suburb day. We wear our matching t-shirts as a show of solidarity on that day. We do a lot. We leave at 8 o'clock. We look at apartments and units in the city and the suburbs. We have an amazing Afro-Panamanian lunch, at La Tapa del Coco. He's been with us since
Yes.
day one.
Yes.
We support as much Black-owned business as we can. And we have our lunch, and then we do the Sankofa, which is, I think, Jace, I think y'all might have been the first time we did it. You were February 2024?
Uh-huh. Yep.
Where we did the Sankofa. Charlotte Watkins was on your tour.
Yes. Yes.
She named it. Remember, we had the
Okay.
drink, the
Yes.
Sankofa at La Vespa. So
Yes.
we end
Yes.
up there.
So
Yes,
that's the
we end
drink, the
up
Vespa
on
restaurant.
what
Yeah.
we end up with a water view at
Yeah.
the Marriott, at the La Vespa, having our special custom
Drink.
made drink, the Sankofa, for Black
Yes.
expats in Panama. Also, our realtors are in that hotel. And so they have now a developer's corner. So even though we go out and we see physical things during the day, we stop by the developer's corner, and now that might not have been ready when you guys were here, but they
It was
stopped by.
impromptu when we did
It
it.
was
We
okay.
were like, hey, we
No,
want to
but
go
they
by.
have a space like in that lobby area.
Oh,
We
okay.
saw that when we went
We did see that.
last
So,
July, but it wasn't
Yes.
part of your tour.
yes.
Okay, so they made that like a part like down by the La Vespa, and
Yes. I know what
they
you're talking
show
about.
you this. They show you pre-construction. The realtors that we work with are master brokers here in Panama City, so they have a lot of different stuff that they can share with us. That's day two. We finish up 6:30 back to the hotel. It's the one of the only nights that you have. There's 2 nights that you need to get dinner on your own. Other than that, all the meals are included. Um, so the next day is our turn up day. That is our cultural day in Cologne. Oh my goodness. Talk about a good day. We go to Cologne, we educate you about the history of Cologne, as opposed to people just telling you how bad it is, how bad it is.
Right.
We're showing you, we've actually expanded it, Jai, since you guys were there. We take them through a neighborhood right off
Okay.
of the city that's very, very nice. And we're starting to expand what we're showing in Cologne as well. We
Okay.
go to We go
The
to the
church.
Cologne sign,
Okay.
take a picture, and then we head out the coast. We have lunch in a Black-owned restaurant over the water. We see the Black Christ. We go to, the Black church. Oh my goodness, you should see the beautiful museum that they have now in
Okay.
Portobello. It is absolutely amazing. So we go through there, and the Congo dancers, to share folklore dance, share their dance, traditional dance with us during our lunch. Then we get on the bus, go about 20 minutes out, take a boat. Baby, it's a busy day. Baby,
It's
it's
busy.
a
That's a
busy
busy
day.
day.
Take a boat out to Isla Mame, private island. The water is bathtub clear and warm, and oh, it's just amazing. We listen to music. Black Expats in Panama is old school and house. Mainly
Yes.
old school R&B and house music, and that's on the bus. We partying, y'all. We having a great time. We start the day with mimosas. That
Right.
just tell you something, right? So we kick off the day with mimosas. And we get back, old school jams on the way back. It's just amazing. I listen, I get all dreamy just thinking about it. I ain't tired. I'm not tired of doing it. I've done it probably 45 times. And
Right.
I look forward to it every single
Every
time.
time. Yeah.
Every single time is different every single time. The vibe is different with the people. We also open that up to Black expats in Panama who are living here. So
Okay.
our group gets a chance to interact with people who are living here and also people who are passing through. So it's a little bit of variety, a chance to meet new people outside the group. And the Black expats come over and over. So we give them a discount every time they come. Like when you come already once, we give them like a $20 discount and they come over and over. When their families come, they like, I need 6 tickets. Everybody knows it's around, the third of the month. But anyway, we come on back, we get back late, guys. We get back about 8:30. And
I remember that. I
but
remember
the
that bus
next
ride.
day, your butt back to work. Back to work, baby. So that is the Caribbean side of Panama. The next day, day 4, we go to the Pacific side of Panama. So we leave again, 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't care how many drinks you had on the third, 8 o'clock. And we go to the Coronado and New Gorgona areas out on the Pacific side. You get to see the difference, the black sand beaches, the different living, the different situation. There's a whole different vibe out there. We show you a little bit out there. We have lunch, a very nice lunch at one of the country clubs in Coronado. And then we head back to the city. We end up with our farewell dinner that people get to share their experience on the tour. We have another cultural infusion because we have one every day, and it's our only one. We have our last cultural infusion on that day, and people get information in the chat. This is when your ride is going to pick you up to take you back to the airport. One thing that we were able to add in is if you leave on that last day, day 5, if you leave after 3, then you can go to the Panama Canal in Casco Viejo.
Mm.
Okay, because we were not able to do the Panama Canal when we first started the tour. The canal was closed to visitors for over 2 years. So
Mm.
once they opened up, our tour was already set. And so this was just a way that we could try to fit it in to offer at least you being able to see the canal, to go to the canal, because we do see it when we're riding back and forth. But yeah, so then we send everybody home and that's it. We stay,
Some
not that that's it, because you stay in touch. That
Right.
WhatsApp chat lives
yes,
on,
yes.
and you stay in that chat until you want to be out of it. People come in the chat and say, "Hey, I'm back in Panama. I got my, residency, or I got my place," or people ask questions about different parts of their process, and we stay. It's a family.
Yeah, I was gonna say some people stay a few extra days afterwards because they want to set up meetings with either Dr. Duncan or the realtor or the
Mhm.
immigration attorney, et cetera. So
Well, nowadays, you're right. People are much more educated about the process. So they come, like you can be in touch with our attorneys ahead of time. You can book your consultation with Dr. Duncan. We have our realtors are available. All of our team is available beforehand. So if you want to set things up so that, yeah, you could boom, make a move while you're here, you could do that. Typically, you have a free Zoom consultation with the attorneys, and then when you get here, it's usually a 5 business day that they ask you to add on to your tour so that you can leave with your temporary residency. I think that's a great deal.
Very good.
That's a good deal.
Mhm.
Yep.
It
Yep.
is. You get a
Did,
lot done.
do you have numbers or approximation, like over the years, how many people that have done the tour have ended up moving? Because I know just anecdotally, it feels like this tour it seals the deal for a lot of people
Mhm.
to, to either really may have made the move in these last few years, or they really are like, Panama is my place, the tour did it, and when I retire, when I get the money right, whatever it is,
Yes.
The residency.
the residency, I'm coming.
Have to, this is something that I need to get better about. Sometimes when you're just grinding, and you be like, I'm gonna go
Mhm.
back and
Yeah.
count that. But really, if I had to guess, I would say that we're probably up to about 70. Up to about
70
70.
people or people
70
or percent?
people.
People.
70 people.
Mhm.
And I would also think that, and that's just a guess. Now, when we
Mhm.
had our anniversary, we had our anniversary. We had our fourth tour anniversary in May. And at one point, Norma, Hill, she said, listen, where y'all at? Because we identify as beat 26,
Yeah.
beat 30, whatever.
Right.
And my heart, I get emotional thinking about it, guys, because we had over 100 people in that room,
Wow.
and more than half of them was hollering out they beat tour.
Right.
All of those people had moved here from the beat tour.
Mhm.
And
Very
we
much.
had a beat tour. It was a beat tour in an active beat tour, and they got to experience this because they happened to be on our anniversary month. And what an encouragement for them! Like, wow, all these people have moved here.
Right.
So I think that when I really, really buckle down and do the math, it's probably more. I just don't want to hype myself to the point of exaggeration, you know. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's quite a few. It's a huge community.
I do. I
Huge
mean,
community.
even yeah, just as a part of Veep 26, I feel like it's our own little, well, family,
Yes,
but being part of the broader Veep, it feels like our own fraternity or something like, okay, this is our special
exactly.
group that gets bigger every year,
It's your
as a
tribe.
word.
It's your tribe.
Yeah.
And we encourage reunions. You know what I mean? We do. So yeah, it's your tribe, and 26. I have to say, y'all are still number one. You are. I think I don't
Numero
know.
uno.
I just decided after I replaced y'all with another group, I just decided I'm not gonna do that no more. So because every group has its own thing. And
Personality. Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to tell because just because people do certain things, like I looked at, who got their residency, people staying in touch and everything. But honestly, out of all the groups, 26 is still the most active in the chat.
Okay. Okay.
Still the most active, I feel, which I think is huge. I think
That
is
is.
super important.
That is.
And I had somebody send me a message and they asked me, well, I know that your tour is Black, but besides that, what makes it different than the other tour?
General tour.
The other
Okay.
tour.
Yeah.
Okay, the other tour.
Uh-huh.
And I said, well, they said, how do you, or what is the difference, or how do you compare? And I said, first of all, we are in a class. by ourselves, baby.
Please.
I'm not comparing Black Expats in Panama Cultural Relocation Tour to nobody or nothing. We do what we do. Okay. And honestly, I think that we work really hard to put a lot of information out on our YouTube channel. My goodness, we got our social media is so busy, always doing stuff. We have our website, blackexpatsinpanama.net, and we have all of our events that are going on there. We have all of our tours, everything we try to make is centrally located because not everybody want to fool with social media. And it was very important for me to do that. We have a frequently asked questions section. We have amazing Google reviews. We are like 5.0, and I think we're still 5-star. And I want to say that we probably have over 90 reviews.
Mhm.
And so you don't have to ask me what we're doing because
Mhm.
we're doing what we're doing. And I don't really understand that sometimes.
Mhm.
I don't understand that sometimes. But nevertheless, we do tell people what we're doing. We don't compare
Mhm.
ourselves to anyone, but this is what we offer. And we offer a safe space. I posted something today about people asking me, especially on YouTube, why does it have to be Black? Why does it have to be Black expats? What we don't do that here. They love to say that, Panamanians or Colombians, because we're in Colombia now. We don't do that here. Well, actually, you do, but I'm not here to. I'm not here to rock your boat. Me
Mhm.
identifying myself as Black ain't got nothing to do with you.
Right.
It's like, and in both of these countries, you have Afro-Panamanian this or Afro-Colombia this. You got Afro-Colombian Day is May 21st, I think, something like that. Afro-Panamanians celebrate an entire month. Etnia Negra in May. So don't tell me that people do not identify, and I don't know, like I said, I'm not here to get into no matches with you about that. And why is it when we do it that
It's
it's a problem? You got
Mhm.
Chinatown, you got Little Italy, you got blatantly Jewish communities, but when we want something, then why are you excluding? And why is it that when the neighborhoods we have happen to be in high rises with red brick and cement walls, ain't nobody got no questions about
Mhm.
why the Blacks or got to be all together? But when we're doing something else, when we're traveling the world, when we're, pumping our fist of pride, then it's an issue. And
Right.
I'm not here to divide nothing, none of that. I am so serious about being involved in the Panamanian community, not just the Afro-Panamanian community. I am here to be um, I am here to give Panama as much as Panama gives me. Because when I tell you Panama has loved on me, it has. It
Mhm.
really has. And
Mhm.
so I don't like having those conversations. And when people feel like they need to ask me that, a lot of times I just feel like I don't really need to answer.
Mhm.
For the people that this is for you, by you, means something.
Mhm.
You know what it means. You know what it means to be in a safe space where you
Right.
can say, what's happening in the US has changed my perspective about my home country. I
Mhm.
feel like I'm not having the peace that I was before. I feel like I need to look at other things, to
Mhm.
be able to say what you need to say without people accusing you of being unpatriotic, or people acting like our experience in life is not different than
Right.
others. Don't take me
Mhm.
there. All right,
Mhm.
I'm done.
No, that
You
was
went right into the
that
question.
was the question we were going to ask, and you answered it perfectly because we have a lot of listeners since we've started this channel, our Quench crew, that one of the things that we've prided ourselves on is giving people something new to think about, and hopefully this conversation that there are people that we'll put something out there and they're like, I never considered residency in another country. Somebody's probably like, I never considered a cultural relocation tour before I'm going, or I never considered Panama. And so these are the reasons. And what you just said, as far as like, if someone is watching and you're thinking, wow, I never thought about that, or I've had those thoughts, open your mind. It's kind of like from the standpoint, because like you said, having a safe space is bigger than your house and your home. It is really walking down the street, seeing people that look like you, even if they speak a different language, but not necessarily being called out or feeling out or othered just because of the color of your skin or the texture of your hair or whatever it may be. So, kudos to you for what you've done, because it's more than a tour. You are really out here changing lives.
Harriet Tubman. That's our nickname for us, Harriet Tubman.
So as we bring this to a close, what is next for you, personally and professionally, as far as like, let us know from a standpoint of the calendar, what things are you in? What can we expect from Charlotte and Black Expats in Panama,
And beyond.
and beyond in the future?
I'm excited. We are, thank you, and thank you so much for those kind words. Yes, I'm excited because we have already established our second cultural relocation tour to Medellin and Colombia. Yes, and so our
When are we
first
going?
one
I
sold
know.
out right
When are we
away.
going?
We
We
got
gotta add that.
in our
Let's
book.
see.
Listen, the next one, the August 15th through 20th sold out, but
Okay.
we're doing our next one December 10th through 15th. And they're
Okay.
betas at this point. So I'm doing two, as I'm moving into the countries, I'm doing two tours to see how they receive, but this tour is amazing. Medellin. And the other thing is, we don't have to be in one place. We can
Right.
listen, Panama need a plan B too. So I ain't got no problems with having more than one residence. Okay.
Right.
Right.
Y'all ain't gonna have me stuck nowhere. Nuh-uh. So continuing to grow that, we've established a super awesome team out there.
Mhm.
I mean, literally, I have found the match to every one of my professionals, right on down to Tio, y'all. Right
wow.
on down to Tio, the tour guide. I mean, amazing. Um, Other than that, we are bringing, come to find out, Panama City has never had an African American stand-up comedian perform
Wow.
until Black Expats in Panama. So Black Expats in Panama is hosting the first African American comedy show here in Panama City at Emotions Dinner Theater on July 26th. Tickets are available. Hopefully this will air before then.
It will.
Dinner, dancers. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited about it. So we're doing that. We have a cultural tour to Brazil, where we will spend some time in Salvador, and that's April of 2026. We are going to Ghana, October and November. Both of those tours are sold out, but that's going to be an amazing thing. Oh, our Sisters in Panama. We have a Sisters in Panama retreat every year, and this year it's usually during Martin Luther King holiday, and this year our theme is "We Deserve ... it." Whatever
Nice.
that is, baby, if it's red bottom shoes for you, you know what I'm saying? It's like we have to acknowledge sometimes that we deserve to go beyond just what we need
Right.
and get some of the stuff that we want in life. I mean, if it's like spa treatments every week or whatever, just kind of considering and reminding ourselves that we work hard and we deserve some good things in life. So one of the things that I did with this particular year is 2026 is I upgraded everything. So we're staying at the Bristol, we're staying at the West End, both five-star hotels. Of course, we're gonna be in Cologne, and We do a private catamaran cruise with the women. So that's going to be, that's the sisters in Panama. We have our regular events here in Panama. We have the Business to Business Network. Super important. Do business. You cannot do business without understanding how to do business in Panama. Don't do it. Don't leave the United States thinking that you're gonna come here and do business in any particular way until you understand the boundaries around that. You know, the purpose of this once a month meeting and group, we meet the second Wednesday of every month, is to create synergistic relationships and partnerships. The other thing is, you know, expats have a tendency, I know here, to get a little messy.
Okay.
They get a little messy. They get a little messy. They start trying to trample over everybody's business. And it's like, instead of people just saying, you know, thinking outside the box, what can I bring here? This is the best place to do business because there's so much that we are used to that they're not doing here yet. You know, we wasn't smoking hookahs. You know, before
Right.
people that came from their country smoking hookahs bring it to the United States. I didn't know nothing about no sushi. When I was growing up, people bring this is the great part about, you know, mixing. But anyway,
Right.
just making your mind open to business opportunities, connecting, helping support each other, and connecting with Panamanians to do business because it's going to be required on a lot of situations. So we have the business to business. We have Welcome Wednesday, which is the third Wednesday, at Emotions, and that's just for every and anybody to come. It's a safe space for people to meet other people living here and passing through. Again, I've always got my sisters in mind because we're very funny about people coming on the page saying, I want to hook up. You know, that's why we have group events. You know what I'm saying? That's why we have group events. So everybody ain't just feel nice, okay to hook up. You know, we want everybody to be safe. So we have the Welcome Wednesday, and then we also have a standing cafe and conversation, which is the fourth Sunday. All of these things have been going on for a few years. We've been consistent at it, and that's what we do. We started and we hang in there. And as long as people support it, we keep doing it. All of these are free events. You know, I don't make no money for doing none of that. And then the other thing that we've done recently is we are sponsoring the Caribbean market at the Soho Mall. So every Saturday now, all day long, you have a farmers market and you have the Caribbean market. It gives us an opportunity to support local vendors and also to support and show people the Caribbean culture, you know, that is here. So that's like super cool. And I mean, I could go on and on because I'm just busy like that. But those are just some of the things that we're doing. And I just get excited. I'm sorry I talk so long, but I just get excited thinking about just how things are growing. And you know, I'll let you guys know there's a documentary coming out about me.
Oh, very cool. Breaking news, breaking news.
Breaking news right here, baby. It's a documentary coming out soon.
Very
Oh,
And
nice.
so
that's
we're really
amazing.
excited.
That's
Really
amazing.
excited about that.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. So you have any other questions? I want to make sure that let people know how they can best, you know, stay in contact as far as like your handles, website. Just give us the rundown on where people can find information.
I think the best thing to do is just go to blackexpatsinpanama.net. And
Okay.
there we have everything, all of our social media, even groups you can join on Facebook. You can get that information right there, you know, the groups, events, the tours, everything. We have a newsletter. You can sign up for that. I think there's a place to do that on the website as well. But I like to just send people to Black Expats in Panama, and that gives them an opportunity to also learn more about what we do in one place. Our reviews are at the bottom of the page. And so it's just a nice landing page that you don't have to be on Facebook or Instagram to, you know, get the information.
Perfect.
Right.
Perfect.
And I would like to say, you know, as somebody who's gone through the tour as part of BEIP 26, you know, the event was truly life-changing. I enjoy all my cohort. I enjoy you as a host, all of the tour folks involved. I mean, everybody was top-notch professional. And I tell Lynn every time I go back to Panama, I feel like I'm back home, like I'm returning. And
Yeah.
it's like, man, when can I go back? You know, it's like I'm ready. So with that said, you know, I hope the Lord keeps blessing you and expanding your territory down there. You know,
You.
maybe you'll
Praise
ease off
God.
that isthmus of Panama, just ease down into Colombia, then over to Brazil. It just be Black Expats all the way down to
The
America.
way down. Yeah, we have worldwide Black expats.
There you
That's
go.
kind of like our section to it. Let me just say this before we go. You
Okay.
know, one thing I love about Black expats in Panama who come on this tour, kind of no matter what their walk in life is or what their profession is or whatever, a lot of them have the same thing in common. We have a lot of A personalities that come.
Really?
Oh yeah, and Jace, you was one of them, baby.
I'm,
You
I'm,
would. Oh my God, Lynn, he worried me to death, girl.
Yes, that part. That part. Questions.
Who, me?
He got the questions. He want to make sure I got this straight. You know, I'm like, I got you, brother. You're gonna be okay. So
Right.
when you have, you know, clients, esteemed clients like you guys that come and then you leave and you be like, that was amazing. That just makes my heart sing, you know, because y'all just ain't accepting anything. You hear what I'm saying? The
Right.
people that come on this tour are expecting great things. And
And
I
you
am
are exceeding those expectations. And so
thank
that
you, my
makes it
love.
easy for him to be an alumni and for me to
Yes,
be in the family by way of him to
yes.
both be ambassadors, which is why, as Jai said, you were one of the first people that we wanted to share with our audience because we
Thank
feel like
you.
everybody needs to experience Charlotte. And if you have any desire to live outside of the US or even visit, even if living isn't there, I think that Black expats in Panama gives such an immersive experience of
Mm,
what that is, especially if you're talking about it's a 5-day investment of time and resources and money well spent.
thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you,
we can't
guys.
say enough.
Thank
5 days
you.
of resources and a lifetime of memories is what
Yes.
you get with the
Oh,
tours.
that's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you for
you.
being with us. We appreciate it.
All right,
And
Quint.
I got my dates for that Brazil. I got my eye on that Brazil tour.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
We
we
got
know
your
it is.
flights and everything. We spending a few days in Salvador.
Okay. Very
Sounds
good.
That's
great.
the blackity black part.
Yeah, yes, yes.
All
All right. Take
All
care.
right.
Take care. Thank you so much, Quint crew. We'll catch you on the next video. Thank
Take
you.
care, everybody.
Bye-bye.